Backache costs the country over £3.5 billion a year in lost productivity. Over 1 million man days are lost each year through avoidable back injury. The introduction of EU manual handling regulations has made it necessary for companies to recognise the importance of utilising equipment which assists in the safe lifting of heavy products. One of the most difficult products to deliver to a high street shop is a large roll of broadloom carpet. This can weigh as much as 300 kilograms, the equivalent of 5 bags of cement. Generally, there are no mechanical aids like a forklift readily available to assist in the unloading process. So it's down to the driver, with perhaps the aid of a shop assistant, to carry this out simply with muscle power. The problem was brought to the attention of Bushy Hall, who for the past 20 years have supplied industry with winches used for various applications. Their engineers developed Carpet Tug, a totally integrated handling system, housed in a steel beam, supplied ready painted for the bodybuilder to bolt in place and wire up to the vehicle's battery. No special modifications to body design are necessary. The beam is lifted into position inside the rear door and has been designed to adjust to any vehicle width. Carpet Tug is now installed and ready to operate. Phil Renault, training advisor for Bushy Hall Winches, explains how the system works.
This, gentlemen, is the Carpet Tug system from Bushy Hall. Before we go through the operation of the unit, it'd be a good idea if we appreciate how the unit's been designed and why it's been designed in that way, and it'll help you then through the operation of the unit. First of all, as you can see, it's a totally self-contained beam which is adjustable for width, so it can fit inside any vehicle. The heart of the whole system is the winch, which is mounted up here, making it fairly easy accessibility because we can get at it from underneath, and you can see what's going on the winch drum as well. The winch rope itself leads from the winch drum right the way across the beam to a pulley tucked up under here. Now, the reason that's done is because from the winch drum to the pulley is a fixed angle. So what it means is that when the rope reels onto the drum, because of the distance from the drum to the pulley, we maintain a good fleet angle, so the rope will always pay nicely onto the winch drum. So it doesn't matter what you do with this end, the rope will go onto the drum in a nice, neat manner and prevent any bird's nesting and snarl-ups within the drum itself. From this pulley, the winch rope comes across into this swivel head here. Now, the object of the swivel head is because it can rotate this way and it can also rotate that way. This is round the winch rope itself, so it forces the unit into the angle that we wish to pull at. This means that we can actually pull from any angle from this point here. So if we're pulling off from down in that corner of the body, it's very easy. It can just swivel up and go straight to there, and as it comes progressively closer towards the back of the body, so the angle changes, and it's fine. Again, if we're going to pull out from over there somewhere, it'll pull out nicely, leads onto the pulley, and because we've got this rope going back to this far pulley, maintaining that fleet angle on the drum, as I said earlier, it'll always wrap nice and neatly onto the actual drum. And as it's going around a proper sheave wheel here with a proper bush in it, the friction around there is a lot less, and you don't lose any power to the actual winch itself. You get genuine power on the end of the hook. To control the winch itself, really we've only got 4 controls. We've got an on-off button and isolator switch on the back here, which also acts as an emergency stop switch. If you turn that to off and isolate, the whole system's dead. On this side, we've got a free spool clutch for the winch, which we'll come on to in a minute. And we've got a Wanderley control, which really is the main control for the winch. We've got a simple in button and a simple out button. Press to operate, take your finger off, they spring return to stop. So if you just take your finger off everything, it'll stop. First thing, before we actually plug this into its socket here, we want to make sure that the isolator switch is turned to off. That's because if you've done some damage to this, you've driven over it or whatever, caught it on something and perhaps cut the wires and are touching each other, if we then plug it in, and it might short itself out, but if that's turned to off and we plug in, if it is, nothing's going to happen. And then if we turn it on and we've got a problem in here, then you can quickly turn it back off again. Because you'll turn it on, the winch will take off, and you think, what's that all about? And you can quickly turn it off, so no problem. So we can now turn that to on, and we can operate the winch. Before we handle the winch rope, we need to wear some protective gloves to look after the hands. So I'll just pop those on. So we've got simply winch out and winch in. Now you'll see in both cases when I operate the winch and winch out buttons, I'm putting some tension in the rope. Although we've got a beautiful fleet angle onto that drum from this fixed pulley, and we've also got, if you can hardly see, just tucked around the back there, a pressure plate which is going down onto the rope, which gives us a better, even better wrapping and rope management on the drum. But if we just keep some tension on there as well, that absolutely really does guarantee that that rope's going to wrap nicely.
Remember, the isolator switch acts as an emergency stop. Make sure the isolator switch is turned to off before plugging in the wonder lead. Always wear protective gloves when handling the rope. Apply hand tension to rope when powering out or in.
When we're powering out, again, obviously we're trying to push the rope off the drum, so we need to keep some tension on it, otherwise it won't come out, it'll just all spool up in the middle there. Now, powering out, we shouldn't really use it for any more than letting out, say, 2 foot of rope. If we're going to move any distance, then what we need to do really is operate the free spool clutch up here, which just pull it out, rotate it 90 degrees, and now we've got a free spool. If you end up powering out for too long a period, say for the length of the winch rope, you start to do damage, believe it or not, to the actual brake within the winch. Unless it's got a load on it. If it's got a load on it, that's fine, but empty, it doesn't really like it. So, and also it takes a long time anyway, so you're better off just clipping the clutch out, and then you can give it a good pull and go where you want. To engage the clutch again, just rotate it and you'll find it springs in. Just give the rope a little tug to make sure that it's gone back in again. And then we're back into the winch, the thing back in. Now you'll notice that when I hold this winch rope, I don't let it slide through my hands. I grab it and stay there. That's because if you have got some damage on the winch rope, a little strand is broken, if you let it slide like that, you can imagine it will happen straight into your hand and cut your hand. But if you do like that, that's fine. To put the thing away, if we winch in, so we've got about that much, then we can easily hook it onto a stowage hook just there. Other thing to remember is when we are spooling the winch off of the drum, we must keep 5 dead turns of rope on that drum. The reason being is that the actual drum anchorage is a simple hole in the drum. There's a grub screw clamping the rope into that drum. And obviously if you put 400 kilos on it, that would end up coming out. So the process that we're really relying on is for the 5 dead turns to actually grip on the drum. If we said that was the drum, for example, and we whacked 5 dead turns of rope around that, you can, if that's the loaded end, you can pull very hard on that. It just needs very light pressure on that side to maintain it, and that in effect is the grub screw. So keep those 5 dead turns on that drum at all times. And to know that, you really need to know how long the winch rope is. So On this one, the winch rope will actually come out about 4 paces out the back of the truck, and you've still got 5 dead turns on there. But if you go to a strange truck, somebody might have put a different length of rope on it, who knows? So it's always a good idea to check that. The first thing you do, how far will it go out the back of the truck and still maintain 5 dead turns up on the drum? Just a fundamental bit of information that you need really on every winch fitted to a truck.
Never power the winch out without a load attached. Always use the free spool clutch to pull the rope freely off the drum. Never allow winch rope to slide through your hands. It's essential to leave 5 wraps of rope on the drum. Always check the rope length before using a winch for the first time.
If we go back to our hook situation, let me just put the gloves back on. We need to be careful how we hook on to any attachments. First of all, the thing that we never do, let's get some rope out of my operating clutch, put it down. What we never ever do is that. Taboo, never do it, because what will happen is that the load will come on like that, it'll kink the rope and could well break there as well. So that is absolutely taboo, never do it. You take the sling that you'll be using, the sling should go into the hook, and that safety catch should be shut, because if this goes loose for any reason, if a load slips, we don't want that sling coming out and the whole load running away. Whilst we're talking about runaways, the other thing to bear in mind is that this free spool clutch is never disengaged if the rope or the hook is attached to a load. It needs to be unattached. If you take that as a golden rule, you can't go wrong. Because let's, for instance, say the carpet was half off the edge of the vehicle, and this was attached to the carpet, and you thought, oh, I'll finish with this now. I'll take the rope off. You disengage the clutch, and next thing you know, all of a sudden the carpet just slides away, rolls away uncontrollably. So only disengage that clutch when the hook is free and not attached to anything. If we do that, then we're okay. You won't come to any grief. Run that in a little bit more. So if you leave about that much, that's fine, and that can go nicely into there. If you leave the vehicle unattended for any reason, like you're going to disappear off into the shop, it's a good idea to turn that off and take that out, so that little Johnny can't come along and what's this do, mister, and start pushing this and perhaps tighten that up and do damage or whatever the possibilities are that he can do. The other thing to bear in mind is where we don't ever want to stand. If we think about where the winch rope is and what it's doing, if we take the winch rope, I'll take that back off. We never want to stand in line with a winch rope. The reason being is what we've got is a long piece of elastic, basically. So there's our winch rope, and if it fails, if this end breaks, say, it goes up there and we could be behind it. But it's predictable where it goes. As soon as it breaks, it will only travel along the line that the winch rope is in. That way, it can't suddenly fly up there, or down there, or round there. It can only go in the false line along the winch rope. So all that means is that providing we don't stand in line with the winch rope, we just stand quietly to one side of it. If there is a problem, then it's just going to miss you if it does break, or which is much more likely, is that the attachment to the load comes off, slips off. Okay, and it just whiz past you and you're okay. But if you find yourself looking along the winch rope, you're in the wrong place. Move, yeah? If we do that, then really we don't have a problem.
Never hook the rope back onto itself. Use the stowing eye. Always ensure the safety catch is closed on the hook. Remember to engage the free spool clutch when the rope is attached to a load. Switch the isolator to off and unplug the wander lead when leaving the vehicle unattended. Nobody should stand in line with the winch rope when it's under load. A demonstration of the carpet tug unloading a roll of carpet shows that the system, which has been tested to 400 kilograms capacity, is easily capable of withstanding the load applied. Occasionally, a heavy roll of carpet is wrongly delivered and has to be returned. Previously, this was an impossible task for the driver to handle alone. Now, with carpet tug fitted, the job is carried out effortlessly and safely. Bushy Hall Carpet Tug assists companies in compliance with EU manual handling regulations. It means that a man can load or unload large, heavy rolls of carpet on or off vehicles single-handedly, with relative ease and without putting himself at risk.